Namaste. Uh,
Namaste.
I consume a lot of social media because of my work. Most times मैं जब निकलना भी चाहता हूँ तो निकल नहीं पाता, and the state of the world sometimes is very overwhelming in terms of whatever is happening in any and every part of the world, our nation, other nations, economically, socially, politically. Uh, One of the happiest times in my life is the time that I give to myself every day when I sit for myself for meditation or contemplation, or when I listen to a Dhamma talk by some monk. Uh, this led me to speaking to you today in the sense of there is a loose thread of thoughts. Uh, Finding oneself in a lost world is the title of the topic in my head.
Okay.
I also happened to write a poetry yesterday, uh, which was something about that sometimes I'm meditative, sometimes I'm agitated, sometimes I'm very clear, sometimes unsure. All of these things are there, but time moves on, and in the circle of time, my victory and defeat both are crushed. And because there is nothing left, I am peaceful. Something of that extent. But that is my point of view, and of course, there is this ideal point of view in my head that, oh, there will be a time when there will be no disturbance and I'll be all absolutely peaceful. कभी ऐसा होगा ही नहीं कि कोई चीज़ होगी जो मुझे किसी बारे में भी उत्तेजित करेगी. Um, I had the privilege of talking to Panna ji, who's been kind enough to say yes very quickly. Not only today, but a couple of times. Our times finally matched today, and here we are. Welcome to the chat, ma'am.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yes. How do you see this? How do you see yourself, and what is finding oneself? What is this seeking? Can you take us through your initial thoughts on this?
So, through my interaction with a lot of people, I have realized, especially those who do some form of meditation, maybe learned from various sources, not necessarily only from a particular religion. They may have learned from multiple sources. What I've realized, they all generally say what you just kind of said, that sometimes we are in a meditative state and sometimes we are in agitation. Um, Somehow, reading Jain literature helped me to realize that, okay, what is the stages of sadhana, and on what stages can you expect agitation, and what kind of agitation. So I realized that it's not a dilemma, or I'm not in a, I don't get uh, agitated about that. Why am I sometimes agitated and sometimes irritated? Because I know that's an expected state right now. So if I have reached a particular state, I can expect that much of agitation in me. Of course, there is a way to improvise yourself from there onwards. Grow. There is a growth path, but we don't get agitated about having agitation. That's what I want to say. So yes, we are in a meditative state, and once you have reached a particular level of meditation, uh, it runs parallelly along with agitation. Uh, so that gives you a lot of kind of peace, or conforming, brings a little conforming stage for you, comfortable stage for you, where you know, okay, even though there is agitation, I've not lost the fruits of my practice of meditation. The fruits of practice of meditation is continuing alongside agitation. And that also gives you a belief strong, internally, not just belief, you know it strongly, that I am moving forward. Uh, it's not that I'm fearing, oh my God, this agitation came. That means I've lost my meditation state. Oh, I will have to redo the whole process of reaching that state again, and so on. So those kind of fears do not come in, which leads to agitation. Insecurities do not come in. Because you know that you have the fruits of meditation continuing even in that stage.
Yeah.
I, I hope I'm answering to the question.
Yes, yes, you have.
Uh,
So what I'll try and do is ask. I had many different questions running in my head when I was thinking about
uh,
this topic. So instead of
okay.
keeping it sequential, I'll just ask whatever is coming up. So as a person, what drew you to finding yourself? What was incomplete in the setup that you were living for you? I mean, personally, how did this journey start for you?
In a previous podcast also, I believe I've given a relatively similar answer that overall, if I look at the people around me, I belong. I was fortunate to have a happier lifestyle. Uh, of course, but if I wanted to be dissatisfied, I could have been seeing people uh, richer than me, or but on an average, I was in happier. I had a happier setup where I had a good parents, family. Financially, also, we were secure family, if not very well to do, but we were secure. I had good friend circle, supportive family, other extended family members. So in that sense, I did not feel incomplete that way. But since I belong to a religious practicing family, a family that practices religion, I uh, I I was automatically going to temple and was gaining a spiritual understanding there, and that itself led me to realize that okay, I want to move this move. Uh, uh, what is the difference between Jeev and Ajeev, Sharir and Atman? And how do you recognize that difference? uh, and then once you recognize, of course, then there is a path to complete enlightenment. This is start of enlightenment, and then it's complete enlightenment. So that's one thing that I thought I was lacking in. And of course, generally in general, everybody would get those situations when they are hyper, they're afraid of something, or they are sad, or they are angry on something. I'm not talking about a extremely end of a spectrum, but on a daily basis, you fire you have an event and you are angry, and then you realize okay, you don't need to be so angry. So then you want to win over those kind of habits of yours, where you lose your control of emotions. So that's another lacking in me. You would want to come over your anger, fear, all the negative emotions. That's called negative emotions.
Okay. Um, what about the attraction of the world that never bothered you? There are enough people from different religious backgrounds. There is no such thing that stops them from living a quote unquote what they call a normal life.
Yeah,
Getting married, having kids, and a lot of things. Going abroad and all kinds of vacations and birthday parties, and so those things for a lot of people they seem to matter a lot. Uh,
correct.
how's your interaction
Uh,
with these kind of imagery?
ah, so basically, I had an opportunity to see people's life living both ways. Uh, the sadhu style of living, uh, uh, married people, and then also another third category, which who's not married, neither a sadhu. So what we call is brahmachari. So they've not completely given up a family life, but they're not married. And they're living with some kind of disciplines in their life that has to be followed. But one would prefer to follow if they want to take a brahmachari path. So as a child, I had opportunity to meet all three kind of people. And because I was also simultaneously reading spiritual books, so I had a chance to think about which is a lifestyle that I would prefer. Uh, and naturally, I didn't have so much of inclination towards marriage, which was a natural process. I used to like company, but I never liked people coming too close to my body and things like that. So that was a natural instinct to me also. So in that sense, I think it helped me. And then I also realized that, so when I compared the lifestyles, three different lifestyles, I realized that, okay, which is a lifestyle which is giving me a more opportunity to help go towards a self-actualization state. Also, which is a lifestyle that helps me to reduce or minimize the um, um, what we call is hinsa, to hurt the other people or living beings. Uh, so then I realized that okay, this is a better between the three for me to live this lifestyle is better. So attraction wise, I don't know because I did my college. I lived a life, college life. I also worked, so I had colleagues, and then we also went to. I mean, we did outing. We went to trips. As a we. I mean, my father has taken me from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and this side also. We have kind of moved everywhere in the traveled everywhere in the India, not outside India, but India. So I've seen the world, and I was conscious enough to make a rational decisions when I see those attractive things that attracts other, whether it's an emotional attraction or is a logical attraction. So there is something really worth to get attracted to it, or it's just an uh, irrational but an emotional attraction towards things. Slowly, slowly, like
Yeah. Uh,
there are a lot of logics which I think a lot of videos do talk about. जैसे एक गिलास एक रसगुल्ला खाओ तो अच्छा लगता है, दो अच्छा लगता है, तीन अच्छा लगता है, पांच के बाद अच्छा नहीं लगता है. So those logics were already out there for me also to think about it. And
yeah. Uh, Thank you for sharing that personal note. Uh, you use the word enlightenment somewhere.
uh,
Uh, has it not intimidated you in a manner where, oh, this is for uh, saints of a higher order, or in today's day and time, how is it going to happen? And uh, am I good enough? Is my work enough on these lines? Because it's a question of purity, and we are living in a modern world where there is um, a lot of things that one compromises on, not necessarily because one is attached or attracted to, but because one does not want to burden others. And you will say, so you don't want to eat in the evening, but family dinner is there, so you decide, okay, okay, I'll eat with you also, that you feel happy about it. So small things like that. But also the fact that enlightenment is a big word. It is not. It is intimidating and obviously a much misunderstood word, perhaps. So will you tell us your thoughts about your feeling about
uh,
the word and this journey?
so one so I'm picking up your question and answering them. So, picking the example that you said that not hurting the other's emotion when they want to have a dinner with me and it's a family dinner and so on. So there was a that so certain rituals I may not have done it for others to be happy along with me, but by and large, uh, I had defined rituals that has to be followed. Doesn't matter, but there is always a way to convey to the other person. Even sometimes you convey it, they got hurt, but then you have a time gap, which helps you to convince them, and then they are over that upsetting mode. They are
Yeah,
not upset anymore. So you have to take that time buffer. They may have felt bad at that particular day, but then you have to be here. You have to keep that in your mind that they have got hurt by my this action, but I preferred my ritual to be followed. So I knew that they felt bad, but I would also keep that in mind that I have to somehow bring that to a natural state rather than leaving them upset. And what do I do? I had freedom and I did my thing and let them be upset. They have to understand. So I didn't get into went into that mode, but I just allowed myself to take that time. Even if they are upset today, let them be. And I'll see to it that over a period of time, I resolve the issue with them. So they don't stay upset. So that's one technique that I used while I was practicing. I wanted to practice my uh, And I do not have too many rituals in that sense. Also, because I belong to a giant family and they are also practicing by and large most of the rituals, I didn't come across that many contradictions also where my rituals disturb the other people's life. Sorry, enlightenment being a big word, fortunately or unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because in our Jain religion, when they are teaching us the meaning of a word through Jain theories, they also broadly explain us what is that word meant into other religions and how they are defining the same word. So I did not had a assumed definition of the word. I had the concrete understanding of that word through multiple perspectives while I was learning the word. So before rather than developing a misconcept about a word, I was learning it through a slow process, but learning it in a correct way, so that I do not get, as you said, intimidated by the word enlightenment. So the word self-actualization, enlightenment, doesn't bring to me as a a big thing to me. It's been taught to you that you are capable of achieving it. There is a process. If you do the process, you are capable of achieving it. So that self-doubt, oh, I cannot achieve it, because we have those theories, those stories where 40 चोर एक रात में संत बन गए, 700 मुनि पर उत्सर्ग करने वाले मोक्ष में चले गए, और
Hmm.
स्वर्ग में चले गए. And we have those stories that's been taught while we are learning theories also. So simultaneously you realize that आपने बहुत पाप किए भी हो, तो इट्स नॉट अ थियोरी दैट आपने इतने पाप किए तो अब आप सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइज नहीं हो सकते या एनलाइटन नहीं हो सकते. So because those theories were taught, I never had this self doubt or अरे इतना मैं इतने ऐसे एनवायरमेंट में रहती हूँ तो कैसे कर सकती हूँ, या इतने पाप कर चुकी हूँ तो कैसे कर सकती हूँ, things like. So it's a
Um,
balanced teaching, fortunately.
yeah. Uh, uh, if you were to, as an individual seeker, uh, you said you belong to a Jain family, you followed the tradition, and in a way, there is a structured way of following the process so that you reach the intended end. But if,
Correct.
as an individual, if you were asked, what is the core of your seeking? What are you really seeking? Would you be able to answer that independently?
Uh, how do I give an independent answer? Because my answer, though it's independent, is same as what you might have heard from other people's also. So it may then sound that it's an influence answer, but
Yeah.
it's just an independent answer that every individual is seeking happiness, a happiness that lasts forever. So that's the same seeking this side also, that happiness. Like when we started, you said sometimes in a meditative state, and sometimes so it's a clear thing that I want to be in that meditative state for as you said. You have a so
Long.
like you, so same goes for me, that it's for a happiness that stays forever,
Uh,
state of happiness.
so this is a very interesting small window that you opened up with this answer. So there is heard truth, सुना हुआ सच, चाहे कितना भी believe करो सुना हुआ है, till you experienced it. Any such thing that convinced you that you are on the path, any small thing in your personal life that, so it's a big decision what you've taken, uh, not in terms of uh, not in terms of the drama of it, but more in terms of every day you have to live this life. So
Yeah.
this morning you got up and you decided, अरे ये तो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, you can't do it like that. You have taken a rational decision after calculating कि अब से
Yeah.
लेके जब तक मैं हूँ, this is the way I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Uh, so obviously it will have its own fears and doubts, and also certainties and courage of conviction that you had inside. All of it runs together. Can you share any one or more episodes where you were convinced, okay, this is this is a truth that aligns to my truth? Uh, did anything like that happen at any point of time?
Um, so basically, one philosophy all of us feel that it's not truth until we see it or experience it or feel it. So how do I know there is a complete happiness or everlasting happiness unless I feel I experience that happiness is one philosophy. But um, there are more than this to give you a certainty uh, uh, um, to make you feel certain that yes, there is a happiness that can last long. So just experiencing is not one of the criteria, but
Okay.
not the only criteria. Huh,
One clarity I want to give. This is not where I came for the question. It is more about personal
huh,
decision
huh,
and
huh,
reaching that point. It's
huh,
not.
correct, correct.
I
Huh.
don't. I'm not
Yeah.
a
So I'm
skeptic of the
reaching.
same. Yeah.
Nah.
Please
So I'm
continue.
saying, so this is not the criteria that I used, that
Yeah.
unless I experience it. So the criteria that I used was more uh, uh, Anuman Gyan. Uh, so suppose if there is I'm just giving example, everybody to, for everybody
Hmm.
to understand. If there is a fire and I cannot see, but वो धुएं से पता चल जाता है कि पीछे अग्नि है. And this kind of Anuman Gyan is called Praman Gyan. When you have rationality uh, and you have anuman that is based on rationality. So what when, the question was how I became certain that there is happiness that aligns with me. So I used this rationality and anuman man to be sure that there is happiness. One, and then as you start practicing it, you do reach a state where it's internally also you start realizing that yes, I am moving in that direction and it is leading to a life where it's a happiness ever after. Now this is a very uh, uh, internal experience that I cannot put it into words. Like जैसे लोग बोलते हैं ना कि आपने शक्कर की मिठास चखी है, गुड़ की मिठास चखी है. So can you tell me the difference between the two mithas? Can you explain me the sweetness of it? Then you cannot say it unless you taste it. So, so similarly, this is a state where I will not be able to answer you, but all I can say is I started with rationality and assumptions based on rationality, anumanana, and then as you continued on the journey and you correctly follow the process of the thinking, chintan manan. I don't know thinking is the right word for chintan manan, but
Contemplation.
contemplation, correct. So that it gives you certainty from within. You start realizing that yes, it is leading to that state where I started for.
Okay, let me help you answer it if it is possible. So, is there an example where there was some kind of doubt but some kind of certainty you already chosen? Now you're walking.
Yes.
I came from that story kind of thing where it helps somebody understand. It may not be an exact. Obviously, this is far too deeper insight for anybody to gauge. Even if I claim that I understood what you said, it may be
हाँ,
absolutely false, perhaps, because it is just
हाँ,
Anuman. So, but for you,
हाँ,
your experience, and that gave you
हम्म,
some strength that made you walk. Because this gives us strength when we listen to somebody who's taken a strong call like you have, and then you walked, and then you're saying, okay, this is something that I understand where you are coming from, but this is where I also pass
हाँ.
this path. So, can you
So
describe that for us?
correct. Uh, how I started making my decisions is I was clear on the principles I want to follow this life. So if but like example, I ensure I make the principle that I'll choose a part of happiness where I do not hurt others. Anything that hurts others and brings happiness to me, I will not do it. Uh, Now, when you are practicing that, and you also recognize that there are not only humans which are living beings, there are animals who are living beings, the plants who are living beings, water, and so on. So then, when you say you don't want to hurt others, then when you say others, you will have to narrow it down to other human being, or then you say animals, you narrow it down to human and animal, or then you go to plants, and so on and so on. So slowly, my others started becoming bigger. And then I realized that, okay, so my pleasures, if I want to bring only through this method where I do not hurt others and I'm happy, that principle easily brought me to this lifestyle. Slowly, I could recognize that I can live without money, earning. Uh, I have unlimited money and I can live with that much. So if you have more money, you do tend to spend more, right? Because you have money, you then don't think so much about 50 रुपए का आइसक्रीम खाया, 50 रुपए का खाया, 500 रुपए का खाया, 100 रुपए का खाया. But then you, when you don't have money, then you want to eat ice cream, you may have just 20 rupees candy and finish your, you have your joy of ice cream with the 20 rupees. And if you have money, you'll have a 200 rupees ice cream. Okay, joy would be same, but then you don't think of money when you have 200. Then I realized that if I want to have ice cream, I'll have a 20 rupees ice cream and I'll take that joy, and I am happy. It's not a compromised happiness, because
Yeah.
because it's all principally guided. I had ensured that I'll do all my happiness, everything that brings me happy, but without hurting them. So I've kept finding my ways of happiness, and I kept getting those ways of happiness without engaging into activities that would hurt others. And then my definition of hurt was others also broadened, and it didn't limit to other human being or just animal beings and so on. So
Okay.
slowly.
This is a beautiful answer. Very practically uh, adaptable for anybody who wants to walk any path, not only the path that you've chosen. Um,
Okay.
have you studied other religions and their methods at any point of time out of curiosity? Because there is so Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism obviously is there is no such thing as one practice. There are just too many practices. But
Yeah.
have you studied other practices and what was the study about and what did you learn? Any such thing that you can share with us?
Hmm. Um, it's slightly unfortunate state right now, that even the other religions, they are not practicing their philosophies. Rather, most of the population are not even aware about what their philosophy is and how their philosophies contradict with the other philosophy.
Yeah.
Even the ritually practicing rituals strongly, somebody might be, देखा जाएगा तो बोलेगा ये तो इतना धर्मिष्ठ नहीं है, पर ये तो धर्मिष्ठ है. क्रिश्चियन में है लेकिन वो रिलीजियस है, मुसलमान है लेकिन वो रिलीजियस है. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दोज पीपल. इवन दे आर नॉट ट्रूली, समटाइम्स आई कम अक्रॉस देम and I realize they don't know, and I know what their religion's core philosophy is. So I did learn, but it was not a structured learning. I, of course, with this era that we are in, with global this internet and accessibility to all the shastras of all religion, whenever I had a doubt. So in our religion, our textbook do talk about. So suppose if our textbook says that soul is a nitya anitya, okay. So then they will also tell us what the other religion talk about, and then they give a logic to it why it is not so. So if I say soul is nitya anitya, then they'll tell me कि वेदांत में एक part है. Now they have Nyayik and Sankhya Mat, and also they give those names also, which general public may not even know. Even though they belong to Hindu, they may not realize that
Yeah.
I am a Sankhya Mati or I am a Nyayik or so on. They themselves may not know it. So uh, so then when they give us what is Nyayik's point of view and how do we debate that point. So why are we contradicting with them, and what is our rationale to contradict their point, and why are we believing the assumption. So that way we learn, and then while we are learning that, while I was learning it, if I had my uh, um, I wanted to take that side. So I wanted to leave Jainism side, and I want to say Nyayik is right. So I want to contradict Jainism now, right? So then I went and accessed Nyayic textbooks uh, for that specific point and figure out how are they contradicting, how are they arguing against Jainism? Because like we are arguing against them, their textbook argue against us. So then I picked up their argument towards us, and then I checked that okay, if I'm Jain and they are contradicting me, does their argument stand solid on rationality or this stayed solid on rationality? And that's how I have learned the other religious books also, but not an entire thing. Whatever was a point that I was confused about, I read about
One
that
of
topic.
the mythologies goes that Ramakrishna Paramahansa, after he was enlightened, he decided to study Christianity because he
Correct.
wanted to see if they had anything different. And he reached the entire goal again and he said, "अरे कुछ अलग है ही नहीं." Obviously, these guys are the masters of whatever religion they may have belonged to, but I think these guys are masters that kind of inspire us to walk the path of purity, whatever is possible. Uh, uh, there is a loss of uh, attachment to people that you're used to, uh, which is also a part of the growth that happens. How have you dealt with this, and what are the problems that you faced while dealing with this?
Attachments are still there. I have not reached a sadhana state where I do not have those kind of attachments, but they are loose attachment as compared to somebody who's not as who has not contemplated so much on relations and whether how what kind of relation, how what is the depth of relation, what is the true nature of relation, and so on. So because I have thought of that and I've made a decisions, my own decisions on whether it's right or wrong, it's this way to say it. Like जैसे हम बोलते हैं माता पिता इस भाव के माता पिता है, right? Previous birth, if no, I don't know, everybody may not believe in previous, but I belong to a religion where I belong, or a spiritual thought process where I believe that there is a previous birth, later birth, and so on. So I have a different set of mata pita there. I have a different set of mata pita next birth, and I have another set of mata pita next birth, and so on. So then I know what is the swarup of mata pita. This is a time period relation. So when you are looking at from that, the attachment has a different kind of attachment when you don't see it this from this perspective. So of course, when my parents are not well, so if they're not well, you do feel because you are attached, you have those emotions running in you. But this kind of understanding is also running in. So it kinds of balances out. Right?
Hmm. What is enlightenment then? Actually, what is enlightenment to you? What will happen?
So a complete enlightenment is Vitragta and Sarvagnata is a complete enlightenment. Vitragta, there is no rag of dvesh anymore. Zero rag and dvesh. Vitragta. So it's gone completely. And when you reach a Vitrag stage, then you reach a Sarvagna stage where you know everything about the entire world, future, past, present, future, and so on. So Sarvagna, as the name says, you know everything. So that's a complete enlightenment stage. When you reach that stage, you are completely happy. Anand Sukh is what the word is, technical word, a Shastriya word is. So that Anand, this is complete enlightenment. Uh, there's a start of enlightenment and then there is a complete enlightenment. The start of enlightenment is when you जैसे सागर का एक बूंद चख लिया तो उसकी खारास का तो पता चल गया. You have not consumed the entire sagar and you want to. You are that thirsty that you want to consume the entire this. But at least even if you consumed a bund, you know how it is. So that's a start. When you for a fraction of second, you achieve that state of happiness, and that's the start of enlightenment.
Okay. Um, Sorry, there was a question that had come, but
Hmm.
uh,
I'm also adding to it.
please.
So enlightenment brings too many things along with it. So it also brings Shraddha, that I am a soul, I am not a body. Uh, this is a just one line answer, but actually, who I am not. It's not only about body, it's about multiple things that you realize that I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not. So I am soul and I'm not the other. So Shraddha, Gyan, and Charitra. So the happiness belongs to Charitra part of it, but it also brings Shraddha and Gyan. Knowledge that I am a soul and strong, real uh, belief that yes, I am soul and nothing. That kind of certainty.
Okay. Uh, is there a kind of spiritual arrogance that comes with the path sometimes? Has it happened in the past, or has it happened to you at any point of time where you realized, "Arey yaar, I've been thinking." My kid tells me many times that uh, all of us are practitioners of Vipassana meditation. Quite a few friends. She ends up saying, "Hey, you guys think that nobody else knows the truth." I said, "Well, that faith in our own path is there. We don't look down upon others, but yes, we may have
Yeah,
that feeling that I have understood. That nothing
correct.
can be done about that."
Arrogant. Yeah,
So,
it's
what
a
is your
challenge.
take on spiritual arrogance?
It, mm, I think it develops, and you also learn to handle it. You learn it, but not necessarily everybody perceives that you have learned to handle arrogance. So it should not then be called arrogance. Correct. So right now, this arrogance word we are using from the others' perspective also,
Traditional.
and our own experience also. No, you do get a little arrogant. अरे मुझे पता है, kind of. You can also be uh, diluted and say, okay, I know, I know it, but let the person convey completely. But at least in my case, ऐसा हुआ है कि कोई प्रश्न पूछ रहा है, उसका आधा प्रश्न हुआ है, मुझे पता है प्रश्न क्या है, तो I stop them. I do not have enough patience to let them complete their question and then I answer. So, but slowly, at least those event, if they were happening 100 times, now at least they're still happening, maybe 40 times, 30 times, but I've crossed 50% and above where I allow other person to complete their answer. And I believe I was arrogant there, kind of, I would be seen up as arrogant, and I was arrogant, not allowing somebody. See, even if they take their time to complete the question, they feel satisfied that I asked the question. I
Huh?
used to realize that I'm answering their question, but they're still not satisfied. Not because my answer is not appropriate, but because I did not allow them to complete
Is
and
it
that's my lack of understanding of people, kind of.
yeah,
So slowly
wonderful
I
insight.
allowed. Hmm?
That's a wonderful insight, I said. Uh, and I, for one, can vouch that you wait for the question to complete. I've asked you a lot of questions today, and you've been
Ah,
very patient in allowing me. And in my case, I don't even have a question. So I start with some kind of hypothesis. Okay, this is where I'm going.
okay.
So some question comes up. Uh, this has been a very wonderful chat, and uh, the happiness that you've gained, you are able to communicate that happiness without the using the words necessarily. You're talking about something else, but the happiness is a vibe that you seem to give, and it is so humbling and so inspiring to see mm, action. If I were to use the word very loosely, that you are living it. Uh, I hope you reach the farthest that you are planning to, and please continue uh, spreading this happiness because it's a gift. It's a gift. Thank you so much.
Wishing the same for you
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
all. Thank you.
Yes.